Lady Q. What's my name, Lady Q? What's in the name, Lady Q? What's in my name? What I say? What's in a name, Lady Q? What's my name, Lady Q? Now, I'm gonna talk about one thing in particular. I was watching this fascinating movie, child, and I love that movie. I think I done watched it like twice, and it was Cruella. Mhm. That was one of the best Disney movies they have made as of late, in my opinion, at least. Well, the lesson that I learned from Cruella is this: the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Hey, hey, hey! How you doing? Good to see you on today. So I hope that you had an opportunity to watch Cruella because I just want to talk about some interesting views, and then I'm gonna hopefully come back. My allergies kind of acting up as of late. Don't know why, but I've been out here for a while. But nevertheless, the first lesson that I learned was that the apple doesn't fall from the tree. The second lesson is I am reminded of the Breakfast Club interview with Les Brown. You remember that? When he talked about he's just not meeting his biological switches back to you, biological mother in his elderly years. And guess what, y'all? Guess what? Guess what? Come on, 2 o'clock. She doing the same thing that he was doing. Now, for those of you all who don't know Les Brown, let me tell you, that's like one of my favorite persons in the world as a speaker, as a motivational speaker. One of my favorite things that he actually talked about, and you got to go check it out. You got to be hungry. Every now and then, when I get real hungry and have to do some things, want some things, be some things, I go and watch that because it motivates me to do better. And not only motivates me to do better, but motivate me to help others to do better. So I want to encourage you to check it out. But I just want to also talk about some things that I learned when looking at that doggone interview. Now, as I was stating, that it's just a coincidence that he didn't even know this lady. You know, the mother that he always talks about is his mother, Mrs. Mamie Brown, and he gives her a lot of credit for adopting two twin sons. However, he just met his biological mother. She gave those boys away, twin boys, um, Wesley and Leslie Brown, away when they were babies because her husband was away. And if you kind of read between the lines, she had some babies that he never knew about. So you already know they ain't his child. But nevertheless, let's look at the Cruella story. And it's a bit more narcissistic. And if you don't know what narcissism is, it's like people who do things to people, but they have no feeling, no thought pattern, or different things. Hello, I see we have another viewer, but you know, it goes in a little bit more detail. I probably break it down because I do specialize in doing self love, especially for victims as well as people who are narcissists. Have been doing them now for about 2.5 years and what have you. I probably haven't advertised it on this particular channel, but I promise you I get it done. But nevertheless, it's a little bit narcissistic, but I promise you, I really love this movie. I love the movie because of the glam. I love the movie because of the fact that it talks about real life issues when people, kind of put the children away and then they think that they're not going to come back. Don't know why they're thinking they're not going to come back. But that ain't the case. But this is the thing. When you do what I do and how I do it, you don't think about the good, the bad sometimes, happy or sad, the knowing and unknowing, unless it becomes a part of what you're trying to heal, bring resolution to. And sometimes it's baggage that we all carry, myself included. I can tell you some stories. And if you stay tuned, I probably will. Oh my gosh, remind me to talk about 2017. But if you don't want to kind of wait on it, there's a book in Amazon.com called Computer Love. No, that was going to be the original title. I changed it to Sugar Shit Love by Emma's daughter. So look for Sugar Shit Love. And the S has the dollar sign. And honey, when I tell you it's spicy, I promise you it is that and some. But also keep in mind those names are actually spelled correctly. And I promise you, if you follow it up and do a little bit of research, I know what I'm talking about. Mm. Well, again, the topic of discussion is the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And you know what? As a child, that little heifer was a damn hell raiser. To the point that she got kicked out of school. And guess what? I decided to do some notes. Well, honey child, that heifer went and do her own thing, like most people. I've been accused of doing that too. When I was in school, I wasn't all that good, especially like my middle school year. I know one year, maybe sixth grade or seventh grade. Well, let me tell you, I got kicked out from the first day of school to the last day of school and had Saturday detention. But thankfully, I had a very good, encouraging um principal who used to paddle me. He's deceased now, but I promise you, I give honor to Dr. Earthling Witherspoon, and he just died last year, I believe. And every time I used to see him, we used to give each other the African salute. But I thank him for beating me or giving me corporal punishment, because that's what it was called at the time. Because had he not, I probably would have been a little hellion like this thing right here. But I thank him, I thank him, I thank him. But nevertheless, let's get back on topic. As I was saying, that child did her own thing. She had her own way of reasoning, but she was brilliant. You know, a lot of times when you see kids acting out, uh, and even adults, even people who have narcissistic tendencies, they are brilliant. They have just a different way of thinking, and it's kind of hard to understand the thought pattern. However, if you take the opportunity to heal from that narcissistic abuse and or to want to come to a resolution with yourself and go through some shadow self moments, that the coping skills are a little bit more better, absolutely better. But again, that's a topic for another day. And the topic of today is that the apple does not fall too far from the tree. But look, as a result, they have put her known mother and herself in harm's way because she got kicked out of the school. Then the mother and her had to move, and the mother had to go back to the real birth mother, who thought that girl was dead and gone. And let me tell you about that heifer. That heifer kind of tricky. In the Hoodoo community, they'll kind of say about laying down tricks because it kind of looked on one end that the little girl was the problem of why her birth mother, you know, I'm trying not to say it because just in case you haven't seen it, but just look at it and keep on looking at it in a continuous view. Let me tell you that child just couldn't listen. She was told to sit down, sit in the car. That only thing she had to do. The lady gave her a magical or hat just to cover. Oh, I love her hair. Oh my God, I love her hair to cover her head. She just couldn't sit there. She had Buddy. She just couldn't sit there. The heifer wanted to do her own thing. Well, you know what? As a result of disobedience, mm, 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 that child caused a lot of mayhem. But again, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Now, if you have ears to hear and eyes to see, you'll realize that I'm still in my little hoodoo moment. I'm telling you something. So that when you go through different little things, even if you know or you don't know your ancestors or your relatives, a lot of times the things that you are either doing, been through, will go through is a result of your family. Don't you know that I can tell you that if I hear your family name, I can basically know some of the things that you probably will be facing, especially if you from these parts. I'm in some South Carolina. It ain't like this is such a big place that people don't know people. you know, just like you can look at a person's hand, believe it or not, you can look at the back of the person's hand and tell whether or not that baby is that person. You can look at people's foreheads and tell if they related to you. Even the nose structure, the cheekbone, all of that is old wise or a wise women tales a hoodoo. But certain people ain't gonna believe certain things until they actually see it for themselves. But I'm here to tell you, there are certain marks that you have or thought patterns, behavior patterns, just because of the fact of who you're related to. And let me tell you, if you don't believe me, think about this. When you go in church and they do the prayer, especially the altar calls, don't they talk about generational curses? So you know I know what I'm talking about. I promise you I know what I'm talking about. So, go to auntmarysniece.com and see if you can get relief from some of them generational curses. Because sometimes, oh my goodness, thank you. See, you even know. See if you can get, like, sometimes people have money problems, they got love problems, and because of certain associations or pacts that was made either prior to birth, during your birth, or after you got here, it can affect your adult life. Did you know that? Eh? But nevertheless, again, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Now, again, oh my goodness. Now, her known mother was sacrifice, honey. I did say that word. Obedience is better than sacrifice, but that helps us want to do her own thing. So this is what I want to encourage you all to do. Don't go out and do your own thing. There are a path that has been laid for each and every one of us. However, sometimes you need to be sick before you go out. Do you think I just got here just by getting here? Do you think that I'm just here by myself? Honey, let me tell you. I may come as one, but I promise you I stand as 10,000. Who said that, Dr. Maya Angelou? hmm And I too stand on the shoulders of giants. There's no way possible that I can do the work that I do and help people and get the results. And it's not bloodline. Somebody down my line, which I do know, have been doing this for a very long time. I got family members who are in books that are famous. You can fact check it for doing the work, and we get great results. But also, what's most important is that you be sent, you learn what you got to learn. You don't go ahead and do your own thing because no matter where you go, they used to always say birds of a feather flock together. However, the apple do not far from the tree. Now, we probably almost 13 minutes in. Hey, y'all. Good to see you. I'm just talking about this Cruella because I promise you, I love, love, love this movie. I'm going to tell you what else I learned a little bit later, but they get better Cruella and how it all ties into Les Brown. Keep in mind that for many, 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 many years, I've been loving me some Les Brown. 1998, especially when he was on TD Jakes' Manpower. I watched that when TD Jakes had this book called, I think, Emotions. I've been loving this man for a long time, but my absolute favorite is You Gotta Be Hungry. I promise you, I probably will be listening to that a little bit later today. But nevertheless, this is how the story ties into each other, okay? Although Les Brown tells a story about being an overcomer, and he's a renowned motivational speaker, and he gives life to helping others. Guess what? His story is just like Will, even though she's on the bad side. The way that we look at things, it's not really a good or bad. It's just what it is. Because what might be good for me might be bad for you. It might be good for you, might be bad for me. You got to have your own mind, but you don't go out and do your own thing. Make sure you sit, okay? And also, certain blessings are predicated for you and not somebody else. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Sometimes people say you over there, so you know what, child? I got a friend over there, and she gonna help you, or he gonna help you. But that ain't the truth, because that might be your help. That might be your blessing. Again, the apple don't fall far from the tree. Okay, so now Corella didn't know her biological mother. Neither did Les Brown. But when you go and look at the characteristics and the things that they did in life, with Corella, She was a fashion designer. She had a love of making beautiful artwork, the designing clothes and people, and she's had such a great artistry. But that heifer was downright dirty. When she had a target, she went to his target. With Les Brown, he has a target of helping people. Same thing. And both of their mothers were doing things in their personal career that their children have done. That's a Pollyanna. So basically, no matter where you are, who you are, where you go, you can't run from yourself. Because the apple don't fall far from the tree. Whatever you're doing now, somebody in your family has done it. Whatever you're doing now, whatever I'm doing now, somebody in my family, a whole lot of people in my family done it. You think I just the only one? Yeah, so no. I just probably the only one that get up on this live right now. But I got no shade in my game. Then let them move. You know why? Because I can't run away from me, and this gives me peace. I can't run away from me because you know what? Inside of my blood, inside of my veins, my hands. Grab my hands. That's a Hoodoo song, honey. Inside of my hands is the bloodline. It run deep, real deep. I got a bunch of these books around here, and every time I turn around, I see one of my family members up in it. You know what makes it so amazing? I remember one of my aunts died maybe last year or the year before last. I think it was last year. And it was at this church. And it was so amazing how many people at that funeral did the work that we did. And we had an opportunity to have us a great time, pour libations, talk about the rules and stuff. And I would have never guessed. So that's not something that we talk about. And one of my cousins, right? She's like, I was to that cemetery. I said, you know what? I ain't gonna do it. Because there's no need. Because you know what? I had such a great relationship with that particular aunt that if I need her help, she's gonna come and help me. So I was got friends on the other side. That's just what it is. Hey baby. That's one of my cousins right there. But like what I say, and get this. Even on both sides of the family, even the people you wouldn't think. But like I said, I probably won't be the only one. But again, think about this. The apple don't fall too far from the tree. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the love. I promise you, I'm not the only one. I'm just the boldest one. But like one of my relatives said, you have just always been different. And I embrace different. And so should you. And remember, you ain't got to duck, you ain't got to drive, you ain't got to die, and you ain't got to hide from yourself. Because at the end of the day, whatever we're doing now, whoever we choose to be, somebody in our bloodline, whether you're adopted, foster child, and you don't know who your family might be. Because a good example, Les Brown, he was a foster child. He's behind him. But I still love him. And get this, he was also Gladys Knight ex-husband. But I tell you what, his story is so enriching. And matter of fact, when I heard his story as a child, I got into radio because of that story. And I am now in my 40s. Still love that. You gotta be hungry. So, what are some things that we learned? We learned that regardless of the fact if you know your relatives or not, your traits that you currently have is from the bloodline. We also learned that not only just you, but me, us. In South Carolina, if you go and talk to the old folks, especially if you know anything about English, they used to say us and this, us and that. And depending on who I'm talking to, you might hear me go with my little dialect every now and then. And you gotta know your roots. Who you come from, where you come from, and why. Your last name tell you a lot about you, but not only the last name, but the first name too. They tell you who you be. They don't know who we be. They don't know who we be. The late, great DMX tried to tell us in a song that the apple does not fall far from the tree. So, my friends, until we meet again, you need to know this. What's in the name, Lady Q? What's my name, Lady Q? What's in the name, Lady Q? Ta ta. See you again. Bye bye.